Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If becoming a mangaka in One Piece world. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 521, The 11 Supernovas. Part 1. One Piece Events. I see. You gave up the pirate life. That's good. Your health comes first. After dismissing the clients who had previously refused to pay, Shaki sat down with her guests. After listening to Hachan's story, she understood the situation well and looked at Kami, asking curiously, "And you're Kami-chan?" It's pretty rare to see a mermaid above the surface. Are you lovers? Kami was shocked by Shaki's bold question. For a moment, she was flustered about how to answer this question. It's not like I'm Hachan's be bride. Or anything. Yet. You jumped a little too far there, said Papag. She's from the takoyaki stand, Hachan clarified. Oh, I see, Shaki responded with a smile. That's right, would you all like something to drink? She then turned to ask if the others wanted anything to drink, but she was taken aback to see Luffy and Brook shamelessly devouring food from her refrigerator. Shaki-san, these beans. They're delicious, Brook said, holding a bowl of food in his hand. You guys are going through the refrigerator. Do you think you're at home? Exclaimed Papag. Do as you like, Shaki laughed before saying. Luffy, Brook. I can't leave you alone for 1 second. Even Chopper wanted to find a hole to hide in from his embarrassment, but that was before he was easily bought off by Shaki. You're friends of Hachan, so it's all on the house. Here, this is for you. Cotton candy. Chopper couldn't help his drool from dripping when he saw his favorite candy. Hey lady, how did you know what Chopper likes? Luffy's hands didn't stop raiding the contents of the fridge, but his focus remained on Shaki as he asked. You're Monkey-chan, the captain of a pirate crew, right? You know about me, too? Of course, you guys are getting pretty notorious. Plus, I'm a well-informed person. Well, I didn't know about you having a skeleton in your crew, or that skeletons could move around. Luffy-chan, you're famous now, exclaimed Kami. As expected of my future self, I have opened a bar in the Sabaody archipelago, just as I planned before joining the art store. Shaki's eyes sparkled with excitement as she looked at the manga events. She didn't expect to be a character with a strong presence in the manga, let alone interact with Luffy and his crew. She also didn't expect that the little fishman character, Hachan, who appeared in the early arcs of the series, would have such a connection with her and Rayleigh. After all, Hachan was the one who brought Luffy and the others to her bar. Sitting here and seeing the actions and words of my future self makes me feel a strange sensation. Is this how those people who saw their future selves in manga feel? Shaki wondered with interest. She was still the center of attention for most readers here in the art store at the Sabaody archipelago. After all, her current appearance was an exact copy of what was drawn in the manga. But many had also gotten used to it. Shaka-sama. Do you think I'll maintain my slender figure just like you after 20 years from now? Dayton asked, clearly embarrassed. What? Do you finally have someone in mind? Shaki chuckled. Fufu, if you're worried, I'll give you the secret of eternal youth, my dear. No need to worry. Yes, I still remember how Gark chased after me when I was the captain of the Kuja Pirates and when I joined the Rocks Pirates. Shaki returned to reading the manga after a small chat with Dayton and teasing her a bit. Oh, this kid, doesn't he realize that asking a girl about her age is taboo? Will Rayleigh really become a ship mechanic after retiring from piracy? I wonder what his reaction would be if he were reading the manga right now. It seems that my relationship with Rayleigh will last a long time in the future. As expected, the most loyal men in this world are the deputies of the strongest pirates. Fufu, a rare smile appeared on Shaki's face as she remembered Rayleigh's handsome face. There was no doubt that she loved him deeply. Seeing that even the One Piece manga documents their relationship even after decades, made her feel an indescribable sense of happiness and contentment. As expected. Is it time for the other supernovas to appear alongside Monkey-chan? Considering that they will be competitors for the throne of Pirate King, they might be interesting individuals as well. After seeing what her future self said about the existence of 10 others beside him with bounties exceeding 100 million berries in the Sabaody archipelago, Shaki felt curious about them. Not only her, but readers all over the world wanted to get to know the supernovas who would share the same generation as the amazing protagonist of the story. Navy HQ Marineford. Sengoku stood in front of the map of the first half of the Grand Line, which was displayed on the wall. The map accurately depicted the 7 different routes that could be taken from various starting points along the so-called Red Line, but there was only one access point, which was the Sabaody archipelago. Twin Cape. This is the entry point from which Luffy's journey began. From here, he set sail. Isn't that right? While looking at the curious crowd, Sengoku pointed to a specific location next to the Red Line. This place is the entry point, but the starting point is different from the entry point. The entry point is shared by all the pirates coming from the 4 seas, but the starting points are different. The starting points are the first 7 islands lined up horizontally at the beginning of the Grand Line. Luffy chose Cactus Island, which is one of the 7 islands. While the rest of the supernovas chose different islands to start from, of course, all of this is random. Beginners wouldn't know these things unless their navigator had previously entered the Grand Line. Sengoku continued speaking, now let's discover who these 9 rookies are who have obtained supernova-level bounties alongside Luffy and Zoro. Akainu looked at Sengoku and spoke with a fierce gaze, once their names are revealed, they won't have a future presence. Just like what was decided with Mugiwara Luffy and Roronoa Zoro, and even that kid Sanji, who deserves to be a supernova too. Garp glanced sideways at Akainu before disdainfully saying, in your dreams, Magma Boy. Chapter 522. The 11 Supernovas. Part 2. West Blue, Jiangu Island. Jiangu Island is considered a gang island, as its name suggests. Before the era of the art store, this island was the most dangerous place in West Blue. After all, it was home to the most powerful family among the 5 families of the West, known as the Capone family. Yes, the so-called 5 families of the West were 5 famous mafia groups that used to control West Blue. That's true, in the past, because with the rise of the Hunters Guild, the so-called 5 great mafia families were reduced to mere small street gangs. Boom! Damn it! Can't you even handle us C-rank hunters? What the hell is the point of your existence? How can we restore the glory of the Capone family if we can't even stand against low-level forces from the fucking Hunters Guild? In a dilapidated tavern on Jiangu Island, the current boss of the Capone family vented his anger on his followers who had just returned carrying the regret of their defeat with them. The man appeared young, around 18 or 19 years old, but his facial expression didn't match his age as he had a clean-shaven mustache that made him look like he was born with it. N/B, it's great to be born an adult. Face with tears of joy. He wore a black hat that matched his black official attire, truly resembling a mafia boss, although he had taken over his position not long ago after his father was arrested by the Hunters Guild. We're sorry, Boss Beej. It wasn't easy, those men are as strong as monsters. Just escaping their pursuit is a miraculous achievement that luck allowed us to accomplish. Capone Beej's subordinates seemed pleased that they managed to escape from the hunters who were merely patrolling the West Blue and cleansing it of criminals like themselves. But boss, we've already obtained the manga volume you requested. At the moment Capone Beej saw the manga book presented by his subordinate, anger vanished from his face and was replaced by a satisfied smile. This was what he had been waiting for all this time, tired of not being able to read it for a whole month. This manga was his addiction, to the point that he often thought about leaving the mafia life and becoming an ordinary civilian, going to a city with an art store just for this manga. That's good. You may leave. With bright eyes, Capone Beach took the manga book and immediately opened it. As expected, after a grueling journey in the damned Golden Lion Islands, Luffy and his nakama finally reached the Red Line again. While reading the manga, Capone Beach felt happy as he flipped through the pages. He burst into laughter when he saw Duval's face and learned about his tragic story caused by Sanji, and he was greatly shocked to see how Sanji had transformed him into a different person by kicking him in the face. This Sanji is definitely not ordinary at all. Seeing their boss immersed in the manga, his subordinates took out their own manga books and eagerly immersed themselves in them as well. It is worth mentioning that the books that Capone Beach and his subordinates read were pirated manga books and not original ones, so they didn't have the features of an art store. What the hell? Suddenly, Capone Beach's exclamation made everyone in the dilapidated tavern snap out of what they were doing. This is unbelievable. Capone Beach's eyes widened so much that they almost fell out of their sockets. His breathing intensified as he stared at a familiar figure in the manga. Is this me? Am I one of the supernovas competing with Luffy? Due to the shock and unexpected reality, Capone Beach nearly fainted. After all, that's what he saw in the manga. One Piece events. A restaurant, Grove 24. Look at her eat. Inside the restaurant, the noise of chewing and swallowing filled the air. It was so intense that the customers couldn't focus on their own meals and gazed at her in shock. Where does it all go? Not far from the scene, a man with an unshaven mustache wiped his mouth and glared at the commotion with annoyed eyes. You vulgar woman, you're making my meal taste bad. Without even turning around, he said to his subordinates, who looked like well-organized mafia members, lit up with intensity. Shut her up and bring her over here. From West Blue, captain of the fire tank pirates, Capone Gang Beach, 138 million berry. We can't do that, father. We're right under the Marine headquarters' nose. The subordinate respectfully replied, addressing him as father even though he wasn't his biological father but rather his boss. However, he received a fork in his hand instead as a response from his father. Jaya. Is this? Will I establish a pirate crew in the future and go to the Grand Line? Unaware of it, Capone Beach was not the only person shocked at the current moment. There were others who were in the same situation. South Blue, suburbs of the Sorbet Kingdom. The Revolutionary Army's ship was returning to the Sorbet Kingdom, carrying their leader, Dragon, who had just completed his training by destroying another deserted island. Everyone was silent, engrossed in reading the manga, but suddenly a shocked scream broke the general mood, coming from a pink-haired little girl. What? Even Kuma, her father, looked in astonishment between the manga page and his daughter. After a while, everyone understood what was happening. Where's my food? I'm almost out. Sitting at a table filled to the brim with food remnants and plates, was a beautiful and somewhat hot girl, with pink hair and a golden earring beneath her right eye. She was devouring the food greedily, oblivious to her current situation. It seems like they're going as fast as they can, Captain, a big man beside her said, revealing himself to be one of the members of the girl's crew. Well then, they need to go faster. More pizza. From South Blue, captain of the Bonnie Pirates, Big Eater Jewelry Bonnie, 140 million berry. Oh, congratulations on your first appearance in the manga, princess. In fact, this appearance was unexpected and somewhat shocking. The first to speak was Ivankov. As if she hadn't heard him, little Bonnie's complete focus was on the manga. This pizza looks delicious. When they thought she would say something significant after a long moment of silence, what she said next left them speechless. Was all that caught your attention throughout this time just the pizza? Seriously. Rob wasn't wrong when he gave you the title Big Eater under any circumstances. These were the thoughts of the Revolutionary Army members and her father at that moment. Chapter 523, Supernovas. New characters cause a stir. One Piece events. Why? This bastard got spaghetti on my shirt, exclaimed someone. A man with long blonde hair and black triangle symbols on his eyebrows raised his hand to stop one of his crew members from attacking the waiter. Then that was your shirt's fate. I apologize for startling you. Today will be a day of death, when fate is unkind. The man's words were somewhat strange. The waiter trembled and apologized, My humblest apologies. After everything, the man in front of him was known. He was a pirate with a terrifying bounty. From North Blue, captain of the Hawkins pirates, the magician Basil Hawkins, 249 million berry. North Blue, Yellowstone Island. This island was rich in raw natural resources, just like Flevens, but unlike Flevens, the Yellowstone extracted on this island was not a highly hazardous substance to health like amber lead in Flevens. Yellowstone was a lime material used for dyeing structures and buildings, making it somewhat valuable. The island was named Yellowstone Island because of its source of this raw material. Being an island with abundant resources meant that it wouldn't be devoid of inhabitants. A few years ago, Rob came to this island and opened an art store, which made the island's residents very happy. Especially a certain child, a pale-skinned, short blonde-haired boy who accompanied a young girl, looked around with an expectant gaze. He appeared to be only 8 years old. They were currently inside the art store Yellowstone, where everyone was engrossed in reading manga only. The young girl accompanying him was his older sister, or more precisely, his caretaker. Suddenly, the young girl with long black hair and moon-like eyes looked at the boy in shock. She repeatedly glanced between the manga book in her hand and the boy, and the look of shock on her face didn't disappear, it only intensified. What do you think, Archa-san? Did you predict correctly, then? The blonde boy was playing with a specific card that had a mysterious word on it, Fame 100%. Archa-san was his older sister. You really appeared in the manga. This is your name, look. Archa handed her manga book to the boy next to her. Basil Hawkins? The magician, huh? As expected. When the boy saw his full name in the manga, he felt excitement but not surprise. Ever since he ate a strange devil fruit, he gained the supernatural ability of divination. Through the cards, he could predict most of his daily events. Every day, he would read his card and his sister's card to navigate more smoothly. When he opened his eyes this morning, he saw that his card was vastly different from usual. It said that his name would become famous. Since he was just a young child, he hadn't become a pirate yet. No one knew about him except those close to him. There was no way he would become famous overnight. But in recent years, a mysterious store appeared on Yellowstone Island, his homeland. This store sold entertaining illustrated stories and showcased anime series with amazing stories and characters. But what distinguished this store was the One Piece manga. It was said that this manga portrayed the future of the world. If there were a bright future for me, I'm sure I would appear in this manga someday. These were his thoughts. This day has finally come. Hawkins wiped away a small tear forming in the corner of his eye as he sought his majestic future self. This is how I'll be after 20 years, right, Archa-san? His older sister smiled gently, then quickly changed her expression to a frightened one. 249 million berry. That means you'll become a terrifying pirate. No. I won't allow you to become a pirate ever. Being his older sister and the only remaining member of their family, she wouldn't let him walk the path of his future self and become a pirate. It was forbidden. Pirates in this world wouldn't have a good ending. Even if her favorite character in One Piece was also a pirate. It's as if the decision of whether I become a pirate or not is up to you or me, Archa-san. This world has its fate, and no one can escape its shackles just like the owner of this store did. Wah! Kaya! What, a fight! The sound of screams and explosions can be heard outside the restaurant, clearly indicating a battle. If you want to fight, why don't we wait until we're over the wall? Apu, wait. How about it? Don't you know how strong I am? The person who said that was from the Long-Arm tribe, currently engaged in a conversation with their opponent. Boss. You can't. Apparently, both of them had crews trying their best to prevent them from continuing the fight. You're the one who was staring at me. You annoy me. I'll take care of you right now. The man with spiky red hair stared at his opponent with a malicious gaze. From South Blue, Captain of the Kid Pirates, Eustace Captain Kidd, 315 million berry. From the Grand Line, Long Arm People, Captain of the On-Air Pirates, The Sea's Roar Scratchman Apo 198 million berry. South Blue, Samba Kingdom. Eustace? Isn't that my family name? A man in his 40s or so looked at the contents of the manga page in astonishment for a while. Since the moment his eyes fell on the young pirate named Eustace Kidd, the man couldn't take them off him. That's because this kid resembled him in an unusual way when he was young. Ha ha. This kid can't have any relation to me, can he? My pregnant wife won't give birth to a pirate as my son, right dash. Ouch. That hurts. Stop spouting nonsense. This young man is definitely our son. The woman who had just bit him indeed had some resemblance to Kidd in the manga, including the red hair. Chapter 524, Future Pirates Everywhere, whether from the earth or the sky. Grand Line, Long Ring Long Land Island. For us, the residents of the first half of the Grand Line, it remains quite challenging to come across an art store, given their scarcity scattered here and there. That's right, but it doesn't matter. Our Long-Arm Tribe Band's headquarters will be established here from now on, yo-ho. Don't you agree, my child Apo? A tall man with two elongated arms looked strangely at a little kid who also had long hands and a peculiar haircut resembling a banana atop his head. Apo? Apoo. Can't you hear me? Why-you? The father gazed at his silent child once more, but this time he was taken aback by the current situation. The kid named Apu was engrossed, his mouth wide open, while staring at the manga book One Piece. This. Oyaji, isn't Scratchman Apu the name you gave me? Apu asked his father in confusion. What's this? Let me see. A few minutes later, the manga volume slipped out of Apu's father's hands, leaving him standing there in utter disbelief. Pinch me, my son. I want to know if I'm dreaming. Because only in a dream could my son be a prominent pirate with a bounty equivalent to 198 million berry on his head. Fuck. Hesso, I'm going to become a famous pirate. No wonder, I always had this feeling that I would be a significant character someday. Roar of the Sea? What a great title, yow yow. Apu appeared exceedingly thrilled today, unlike his usual days, because today is the day he became a prominent character in the famous manga. One Piece events. Grove 22. A monster's on the loose. The sound of clashes and explosions can be heard everywhere near a battlefield where three individuals are present. If you want to do this, wait until you're in the New World. It is better to say that the third party intervenes to stop the conflict between the other two. From North Blue, Captain of the Drake Pirates. The Red Flag X Drake, 222 million berry. You're that disgraced Marine officer Drake, huh? The large man with wings holstered his heavy weapon behind his back before continuing to speak. Fufu. Looks like your life is spared for today. Masked Man. The masked man with two sides did not respond but remained on guard. From a Sky Island, Captain of the Fallen Monk Pirates. The Mad Monk Urage, 108 million berry. From South Blue, combat member of the Kid Pirates. Human Massacre Machine Killer, 162 million berry. North Blue, Minion Island. Minion Island is a winter island with a cold climate throughout the year, much like the Drum Kingdom and the Grand Line. This island is considered a lawless area where pirates and underworld gangs can be seen everywhere. However, the most famous pirate crew that considers this island their stronghold is the Barrels Pirates. Their captain is a former Marine officer who turned pirate for complex reasons. At this moment, Barrels and his crew were reading One Piece manga in their cozy tavern, enjoying the fantastic and celebratory mood they experienced once a month whenever a new One Piece volume was released. This. Am I dreaming? Impossible. Barrels trembled when he saw the introductory profile of a certain supernova. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. What's wrong, Captain? What's happening? Did something catch your attention in the manga? Barrels' outburst caught the attention of his pirate crew, so they rushed to find out what was going on. Barrels was a large, fair-skinned man with a prominent chin, pointed nose, and small ears. He had short, organ-like hair. He wore a dark-colored buttoned shirt and a light-colored pirate-style coat. This. It's my son, Drake. Don't talk nonsense, Captain. How could your son become a Marine officer and then abandon his naval uniform to become a pirate again? But current age of Dory is 9 years. Barrels knew well that his son had aspired to become a high-ranking officer in the Navy in the future. Of course, that was before the emergence of the Hunters Guild and One Piece manga. Even after Barrels left the Navy and physically beat his son to rid him of the idea of joining the Marines, his son Dory, as he called him, still wanted to join the Navy because he saw true justice in it in this world. But with the emergence of One Piece manga and the display of some of the Navy's true colors, Drake's regard for the Navy subconsciously diminished, and his preference for the Hunters increased instead. Barrels looked at his son, who sat in the corner, wide-eyed and absorbed in the pages of the manga, shocked. "My son. This is your future. You will become a pirate, just like your father, ha ha." Barrels laughed like a madman, and his pirate crew joined in the laughter, equally insane. No doubt, today was an utterly crazy day, as their captain's son appeared in the manga as a high-valued supernova pirate with a hefty bounty. Sky Island, Burka. The eyes of a certain monk shimmered with excitement as he immersed himself in the captivating world of the manga One Piece, flipping through its pages within the confines of the recently established art store called Burka, a venture brought to life not long ago by Rob. After persistent appeals from the god of Burka, his fervent wishes were finally granted. Now, alongside the art stores gracing the ethereal Sky Island of Alabasta and the enchanting Sky Island realms known as Angel Street and Upper Yard, the art store Burka emerged as the fourth art store. Disregarding the art stores that had served as the very foundation of the illustrious Skyport. The monk, adorned with majestic wings that stretched gracefully from his back, gazed upon the manga's pages with a mixture of surprise and bewilderment. A fallen monk. Could this portrayal be a reflection of myself? Up until that moment, Urich had yet to fully fathom the significance of the images and narrative woven within the manga's panels. Similar perplexity befell the denizens of Burka, their eyes fixated upon him with sheer admiration and incredulity. "It appears that I may have indulged in one too many spirited libations," he mused, a mischievous undertone lacing his words, "Foo-foo." Chapter 525, How much waves will this generation cause in the New World? The atmosphere on Sky Island is still highly charged. After everything, one of their representatives appeared as a supernova in the Sabaody Archipelago arc. This is still something to be proud of in the time of the World Forum. Seriously, should my first appearance be so humble? Who is this masked man who can fight me without breaking any of his limbs? No doubt, there are many strong ones in the Blue Sea, Fufu. At least I am the only representative of Sky Island among these monsters from the Blue Sea. Urich was very happy with his first appearance in the manga, although he was not satisfied with how this person named Killer was able to fight him without losing. Furthermore, another person was able to intervene in his fight against the masked man and easily stop them from continuing the fight. This really angered him. Urich, this does not bode well. Suddenly, the god of Burka appeared with his priests next to Urich's table and surrounded him. What does not bode well? A mad smile appeared on Urich's face, which was half as expensive as his manga version, but he still looked like a guy in his 20s. Your appearance in the manga as a pirate and a fallen monk. Aren't you an educated priest? How did you end up becoming a pirate in the Blue Sea? The god of Burka corrected his posture and rephrased his illogical question. Or rather, what would drive you to become a pirate? We don't want to see this. If you have such thoughts, it's better to cancel them. One Piece events. That was pretty good just now. Sitting on a wooden box, a young man with tattoos and a yellow jacket adorned with black sleeves and a pirate emblem looked at Drake, who was passing by, and spoke. But, Drake, how many men have you killed? From North Blue, captain of the Heart Pirates, the surgeon of death, Trafalgar Law. 200 million berry. North Blue, Flevance Island. Certainly, no matter how wild and unusual the expectations of the couple, Trafalgar, they never expected their family name to appear in the manga. Carrying it, a young man, or a rising great pirate, supernova, that's what they never expected at all. In the art store, Trafalgar Chris, or D. Chris, which few people know he possesses, looked at the manga page with eyes filled with confusion, happiness, tension, speculation, surprise, or perhaps shock. His wife, Mary, was not in a better state, as her attention fell on the picture of the boy named Trafalgar Law and she refused to turn to the next page no matter what. As if magnetized, it was not only the name that caught Mary's attention, but also a deep sense of strange familiarity, not logically. She put her hand on her bulging belly while looking at the boy whose eyes reflected a dull color that could bring nightmares to those who saw him. Only the gray color could be seen in the eyes of the boy named Trafalgar Law, which meant that he had only seen tragedies with his eyes and never saw any goodness. Is he? Could he be? I don't know. Mary, my dear, there's no need to jump to conclusions. There are many similar names in this world, and this could be one of them, so, don't connect this pirate to our unborn son. After a while, Chris spoke confidently. Personally, he didn't believe that this young pirate had any relation to him. On the contrary, Mary couldn't deny this sense of familiarity with Trafalgar Law no matter how hard she tried. I can't refute this, but there's a voice in my mind telling me that this is my son. Whom should I believe? Chris saw a tear falling from his wife's eye, which seemed more emotional than necessary. A voice. Well, even if that's the case, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, right? Chris asked with a smile. Of course. Mary replied excitedly. Then why are you crying? Seeing my son as a powerful young man in the manga, I couldn't control my emotions. I'm sorry, my dear. Sigh. That's understandable, but we still haven't confirmed the truth. This boy may not be our little Law after all. There were mountains of pirates who entered the Grand Line, but now, only a few are left. Returning to Shaki's rip-off bar, Shaki was still talking about the current situation in the Sabaody archipelago to Luffy and his friends. The Grand Line really is a gigantic survival tournament. The surviving pirates from each route have proven themselves to be the fittest, the elite. One of them might even become the person who inspires the next generation of pirates. At the very least, all these rookies entering the new world won't go unnoticed. The reason why Captain Kidd has a higher bounty than you is because they cause a huge amount of damage to ordinary citizens. Not cute at all, right? Shaki removed the cigarette from her mouth before declaring with a smile, so, I'm definitely rooting for you guys, Monkey-chan. Well, I'm just going to have fun, said Luffy. But all these pirates being around makes me worry about the craftsman guy. Oh, he'll be fine. He's about 100 times stronger than you boys. Wahahaha. After hearing about the presence of all these super rookies, Luffy became worried about your safety, Rayleigh. Roger laughed, imagining the shock Luffy and the others would have when they heard that Rayleigh was at least 100 times stronger than them. Hahaha, Shaki-chan is definitely exaggerating a bit, Rayleigh said as he drank his sake. Where's the exaggeration in that? You're one of the strongest beings in the world, Rayleigh. I can't even defeat you. I think describing your strength as only 100 times greater than Luffy's current power is an understatement. This time it was Bullet who spoke. Don't be too modest, Bullet-san. Let's not forget that Luffy defeated the Golden Lion. Let's leave this nonsense now. Don't you think this generation of super rookies in the manga is very promising? There are many boys with incredibly high bounties, a rarity to see this number of supernovas every 10 years. Indeed, Rayleigh, I can see that the generation in which Joy Boy will grow up will be remarkable in any time and place. I can't wait to see when they grow up and the waves they will create upon entering the new world. Roger could only look forward to the future. Chapter 526, The Crazy Pirate Hunter. Fishman Island. Ha ha ha. Seeing members of my race being treated with such kindness by Luffy and his friends brings happiness to my heart, Jamon. King Neptune was enjoying the events of the manga as he watched Luffy, Hachan, Kami, and others having fun at Sabaody Park. That's good, isn't it, King Neptune? Look at this, everyone is happy for Kami, who is crying with joy. Fufu, remarked the beautiful store goddess, Susan. Kami has truly fulfilled the childhood dream of all these men and women, as well as my own childhood dream. Susan pointed out the fishmen, their faces filled with smiles as they read the manga pages depicting the scenes of Luffy, Brook, Chopper, Hachan, Kami, and Papag enjoying their time together in the games at the park. That's bad, Jamon. Yes, as expected, these bastards are planning to kidnap Kami. I hope they don't succeed because it will only bring more trouble. For the first time, Susan showed a hint of concern on her pretty face. Even the other fishmen who were reading the manga became nervous upon seeing this. Holy Land, Marigoa. Luffy and those fishmen seem to be enjoying themselves. The centuries of oppression we imposed on those fish have made their future generations so weak, remarked someone within the empty throne room. Imu and her subordinates eagerly anticipated the events in the new volume of the Sabaody Archipelago arc. But, my lord, no matter what they do, they cannot escape the clutches of the slave traders. This is Sabaody Archipelago as it used to be before we lost control to the other pole, said St. Marcus Mars upon witnessing Peterman, the boss of the kidnapping team, preparing to abduct the mermaid Kami. These individuals are skilled in capturing slaves of all kinds. I doubt he will fail to kidnap her, even if Luffy personally guards her, analyzed Saint Shepherd Jew Peter and assessed the current situation in the manga. Your words, my lord, accurately depict the situation. When the greatest dream of the fish children becomes playing in Sabaody Park but they are unable to, it means we have successfully forced them back into their shells, responded Saint Topman Warkiri to Imu's earlier statement. Indeed. What can they do except dream and fear being sold as commodities in slave auctions, St. Ethan Baron V. and Usjiro commented, adjusting his glasses before speaking. It's all because their queen at that time dared to conspire against us. Did she truly believe that controlling the power of the sea god would make her invincible? Ha, what a fool, ambiguously remarked St. J. Garcia Saturn. Regardless, the fishman race is no longer a problem. There might be some inconvenience if a new mermaid princess emerges, but that's acceptable. It would be welcomed if it happens this time, stated Imu. Now, this is an intriguing sight. Imu's red eyes suddenly flashed as she observed Zoro walking confidently down the street, heading directly towards one of her pitiful descendants. Note, the celestial dragons are considered descendants of the 20 founding kings, with Imu being one of the founding kings. Therefore, the celestial dragons derive their power from her. Zoro doesn't know anything about celestial dragons, does he? One of the Gorosei wiped his forehead, a sign of his nervousness. One Piece events. Who's that? Captain Apu, he's the pirate hunter from East Blue. What's he doing walking in the middle of the street? Doesn't he know anything? He's in trouble. The on-air pirates and fire tank pirates noticed Zoro's appearance and recognized him as one of the current supernovas. The strange thing was that Zoro was walking straight towards the celestial dragon while drinking his sake. Finally, Zoro noticed that his path was blocked by a repulsive man wearing a spacesuit. What? The celestial dragon opened his slimy mouth in shock, seeing someone audacious enough to not kneel in his presence. What? Are you lost or something? Zoro thought that this man must be lost, but regardless, Zoro had no knowledge about celestial dragons until that moment. Upon hearing that, the crowd present was shocked. Immediately, the celestial dragon shot a bullet directly at Zoro's face, but Zoro easily avoided it and unsheathed his sword, prepared to cut down the man who had just tried to kill him without any trace of mercy. Hey, what's he doing? If he does that... Apu couldn't believe what he was seeing. A sane person attempting to kill a celestial dragon right in front of him. Suddenly, without warning, a small girl with pink hair jumped onto Zoro and pushed him away from the celestial dragon. A kid. Zoro was surprised by the situation. Why did you die, big brother? Big brother. Did you go against the Tenryubido? You win. The little girl began crying on Zoro's chest as if she had truly lost her older brother. Zoro didn't understand what was happening. Big brother, you stay still. The little girl whispered to Zoro, telling him to stay still. Question mark. Zoro still didn't understand what was happening. I hit him. For a second there, I thought he dodged it. Just my imagination. Well, as long as he's dead. After saying this, the slimy celestial dragon left with his entourage. Why'd you get in my way? Asked Zoro. I didn't get in your way, you moron. What the hell were you doing? Did you want to bring an admiral down on these islands? Exclaimed Bonnie. If you're a pirate, you should be able to recognize other pirates at a glance, right? Don't make trouble for us, too. Tomato juice. You? Ha? Weren't you a kid? Are you hurt in the head? Well, I'm not hurt. You idiot. That's not what I'm talking about. You're really a moron. East Blue, Shimatsuki Town. Ha 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 ha. This is Zoro. The pride of my Shimatsuki clan. Who is the celestial dragon? It's nothing but a fart. Zoro's ancestor even slayed a real dragon. Old man Kozaburo laughed heartily, slapping his knee in sheer enjoyment. He was truly relishing this incredible scene. Sigh, really, father? If it weren't for this young girl, Jewelry Bonnie, Zoro would be in serious trouble. Killing a celestial dragon, with his current strength, it's something he can't handle. Kushiru sighed and spoke softly. Shut up, you coward. If you had even a quarter of Zoro's courage, you would have set sail and competed for the title of Sword King too. This slimy celestial dragon deserves to die. His wicked actions will not go unpunished. Kozaburo was furious at the despicable celestial dragon's deeds. He forcibly took someone else's fiancé and shot him, and not only that, but he also killed a sick man who desperately needed medical attention. This not only angered and saddened Kozaburo, but all the kind-hearted people around the world who read about this scene. I was hoping Zoro's madness would come to fruition, and I would witness this damn celestial dragon being sliced in half. Damn it, you've ruined my mood. Suna-chan. Come and get this idiot out of my sight before I kill him. Yes, Dad, I'm coming. Chapter 527, he doesn't seem like someone who follows orders. One Piece events. Thanks to Jewelry Bonnie, we managed to avoid the worst-case scenario. That man was the pirate hunter Zoro, from the Straw Hat Pirates. Someone spoke quietly behind his captain, Capone Beach. I'd heard that they were all crazy, but to attack one of the 10 Ryubido. That's just insane. Capone Beach admitted that he underestimated the extent of this crew's madness. Not far from the fire tank pirates, Basil Hawkins said, of course, he was saved. He doesn't have the look of death about him. Scratch Manipu added, that bastard, for a second there, he let off a ridiculous amount of killing intent. He's a beast. With his usual smile, Urage looked at Zoro before speaking, he's the first mate, and his bounty is 120 million. He doesn't look like a guy who follows orders. I guess that says a lot about his captain. Suddenly, Zoro did something that surprised everyone. He carried the injured man, who had been shot, on his shoulder and asked someone, hey, where's the hospital? Hospital. I'll take this guy. He got shot. What? Just leave him, he's just some guy. Zoro ignored Bonnie's annoying shouting, took the man who had lost his fiancée and almost lost his life, and left. I'm shocked. A pirate saving someone. I've never even heard of something like that. Bonnie wasn't the only one shocked by this scene, everyone present in the place was taken aback. The Grand Line, Drum Island. What an extraordinary man, Zoro. Words alone cannot fully capture his magnificence. The king of Drum Kingdom adjusted his purple beard and spoke with a smile. He was greatly impressed by the remarkable sight of a pirate coming to the aid of an ordinary civilian. Beside him, his beautiful wife wiped away a tear of affection from her eyes. Queen Carla was genuinely moved by Zoro's actions. The Straw Hat crew possesses great kindness. It's as if they are not pirates at all, but rather a group of cute adventurers. But he nearly killed a celestial dragon. The mere thought of it sends shivers down my spine. I've heard that the celestial dragons also read One Piece manga. I wonder how they will react to this act of benevolence. I assume their response will be one of immense anger. King Maypal whispered these words into his wife's ear, ensuring that no one else would overhear them. Maragoa, domain of the gods. Speaking of the reaction of the celestial dragons regarding the scene where Zoro attempted to attack the slimy celestial dragon, it can only be described as ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That's what Saint Figurland Garling exclaimed upon witnessing the enraged celestial dragons cursing at the audacious offender in the manga. The sight of this uproarious spectacle left Figurland Garling and the rest of the Holy Knights wide-eyed in disbelief. That damn bastard. He nearly killed him. F at CK at Euro at N and Euro at, growled a certain celestial dragon. What do you mean he nearly killed him? As if Zoro would perish at the hands of this scum. Another celestial dragon referred to the slimy celestial dragon as scum, defending Zoro's honor. This infuriates me. I want to slay this wicked bastard who dared to harm my beloved Zoro. A female celestial dragon couldn't contain the anger welling up inside her. Zoro was her favorite character and the man of her dreams. Witnessing someone from the same status as her attempting to harm Zoro and referring to him as a commoner filled her with rage. Moron. Fucker. How dare he stand in Zoro's way? If I could time travel, I would teach that bastard a lesson. He can't impede Zoro's path. What is this vile pirate doing? How dare she embraces my Zoro? Hey guards! Locate the parents of this jewelry Bonnie and eliminate them before they bring forth this villain pirate girl. Chaos ensued inside the Maragoa art store at that moment. All the celestial dragons rallied behind Zoro, yearning to tear the slimy celestial dragon apart. This left the Holy Knights with a sense that something was amiss. Surely, there was an error, and it didn't align with the original text. Where did the mistake occur and when? South Blue, Sorbet Kingdom. I did this? Little Bonnie's eyes sparkled as she saw herself transforming into a kid's form and preventing Zoro from harming the slimy celestial dragon, thereby averting a catastrophe. Little Bonnie, you stopped Zoro from making a grave mistake in the manga. You are destined to be an important character in this marvelous book, and I am proud of you. For the first time, Kuma spoke at length and praised Bonnie with a smile. This young man truly surprised me. Not only does he lack a sense of direction, but it seems he is also unaware of current events. Or perhaps he knows the identity of the person who intended to kill him but was willing to go through with it regardless. Enfufufu, what an attractive young man he is. Stop talking nonsense, you dim-witted fool. Crocodile slammed his hand on the table and cursed. Zoro is an impressive individual. It's delightful to see him in my son's crew. This time, Dragon smiled as he spoke. Little Bonnie, you should also learn from Zoro. Life isn't just about indulging in food. In our grandest endeavor, we must assist the vulnerable. Despite being a pirate, Zoro demonstrated that he doesn't disregard the lives of commoners. Do you know why? Dragon inquired, gazing at the little girl nestled in her father's lap. Everyone fell silent, eager to hear the answer. I don't know. Bonnie replied bashfully. It's because he doesn't let his pirate identity define him entirely. He can claim not to take it seriously. He is a man of principles and dreams, following the desires of his heart. He wields his sword not for the sake of shedding blood, but for the sake of honor. He's a natural swordsman. Your son is a natural swordsman, he's like his ancestor. Back in the Drum Kingdom, in the private section of the art store where the Zoro family gathered, Shimatsuki Ashimara spoke with a wide smile on his face. When this boy is born, will you entrust him to me for training, Erasure? As his nephew, Ashimaru and Erasure quickly formed a strong bond, strengthened by their shared bloodline. I can do that, but you have to train him here. I won't allow my son to leave this place until he reaches adulthood. Who am I to change his destiny? Did you discuss this with his mother before making a decision? Tara playfully puffed her cheeks while speaking, her green hair resembling her son's. Ohara. He really doesn't seem like someone who follows orders? That's correct. As a swordsman aspiring to become the greatest, he cannot accept being subordinate to anyone. But, Hawk-chan, why did he choose to join Luffy? Have you forgotten what Zoro said to Luffy when they first met? He said, "I will be a member of your crew, but if our paths clash with my own pursuit of my dreams, I will sever ties with you, even if you are my captain." That means it might come true in the future, doesn't it, guys? Foo-foo. Suddenly, Doflamingo interjected in the intriguing conversation between Mihawk and Isho, who they already returned to Ohara after a lengthy mission in Wano. Who knows what life's twists and turns may bring? But personally, I don't believe that. Zoro is intensely loyal to Luffy for reasons known only to him. Chapter 528, The Beginning of Troubles, The Kidnapping of the Mermaid Kami. New World, Elbaf Island. Well, that's enough. Upon Rob's arrival at Elbaf, he immediately noticed a massive battle unfolding between the Big Mom pirates and the Elbaf giants. As soon as he spoke those words, a tremendous aura erupted, engulfing the entire island continent Elbaf, the homeland of the giants. The intense spiritual pressure caused all creatures in the vicinity to instinctively freeze, regardless of their strength. Everyone ceased their activities, except for breathing. The suffocating aura was so overwhelming that some beings even forgot how to breathe. It resembled the pressure of Conqueror's haki, yet it was something distinct. Rob stood in the sky above Elbaf, emanating an otherworldly presence. Broggy. Dory. Even these two giants couldn't break free from Rob's terrifying aura. They stared helplessly at each other, recognizing the arrival of their boss. His presence meant that whatever was transpiring would come to an end. And indeed, it did. Broggy, Dory. Didn't I tell you not to pick fights with Linlin's children? Rob's voice was as heavy as a soul-crushing hammer, sending shivers down the spines of everyone present. The scolding tone in his voice filled them with terror. Even Katakuri, the strongest among the Big Mom pirates, felt fear not for his life, but fear of incurring the wrath of the owner of that voice. The rest of his siblings were practically trembling in fear. Prince Loki of the Giants' Kingdom felt the same way. Tears welled up in his eyes as he gazed at the godlike figure in the sky, unable to move or speak. He felt an overwhelming sense of injustice. Even his royal father had never instilled this level of oppression in him. Throughout his life, he believed that his father was the strongest being in the world. Yet, the small man in the sky made him cry with just the suppression of his aura. Observing their sorrowful expressions, Rob deemed this lesson to be sufficient. With a smile, he withdrew his spiritual pressure, which could subdue any being except for gods, and spoke. Linlin's children, your business here in Elbaf is finished. From this day forward, you have no purpose here. Return and inform Linlin that she should not disturb the giants again. Is that clear? Rob descended slowly, stopping in the center of the giant village, where the wary and fearful giants observed him. They would never forget the tremendous aura emitted by this man for the remainder of their long lives. We understand, Rob-sama. I will make sure to relay your esteemed words to Mama immediately. Parasparrow responded swiftly, expressing his gratitude to Rob before gathering his siblings and leaving. The battle against the giants had been lost from the beginning, and Rob's arrival served as their savior from a life-or-death crisis. Rob nodded. Suddenly, he remembered that he had just slept with these men's mother. Did that mean they were now considered his children? He shook his head, dismissing these strange thoughts, and looked at the oppressed Prince of Giants with a smile. I apologize for frightening you, Prince Loki. No need to worry. I didn't come here to cause harm. On the contrary. One Piece events. I took a peek at the town. It looked like there were soap bubble bicycles flying around. Returning to the Sunigo, Sanji, who had just spoken, along with Usopp and Frankie, were happily drinking tea and conversing. I saw that, let's buy one. Usopp enthusiastically suggested. We'll have to try them out first. Pura-pu-para-para-up. Before Frankie could finish speaking, the sound of Dendon Mushi interrupted him. I hope it's Nami, Sanji hurriedly responded, gotcha. Hello? It's me, Chopper. There are too many flavors of ice cream. Hey, what happened? Sanji. It's bad. You Ian. I can't understand you, calm down and speak clearly. Now tell me, what happened? Kami's been kidnapped. What? Sanji, Usopp, and Frankie were shocked. It was probably some kidnapping team. I don't know why, but mermaids and fishmen are sold and bought here, even if they haven't done anything wrong. Chopper continued, his tearful tone shifting to a tone of self-blame. Kami's gonna be sold. She's gonna be a slave for the rest of her life. It's all our fault. There are too many human shops on the archipelago. We don't know where she'll be sold. We don't even know who took her. The archipelago is too big. Anyway, if we all split up and look. Tell me where you guys are, in detail, just wait there. Sanji interrupted before he could finish what he intended to say. But we know some pros at this. I'll call the Flying Fish Riders. Ohara. This is what happens when the roots are not cut after demolishing a house. If Luffy hadn't shown mercy to those despicable bounty hunters, the information about the mermaid wouldn't have leaked, and the slavers wouldn't have pursued her. Doflamingo grew increasingly annoyed while reading this chapter, from the appearance of the slimy celestial dragon who undeservedly held his authority and power to the situation involving the fish-faced slave trader. Everything in this chapter is annoying except for Zoro's appearance, added Mihawk, who had joined Doflamingo's group along with Isho. You're right. Zoro always brings magnificent splendor to this manga. If Luffy had even half of Zoro's seriousness, he would have become the Pirate King by now. Enel spoke sarcastically this time. Enel had always been greatly annoyed by Luffy, who had defeated him through luck and a plot hole in the manga. That's why he always favored Zoro over Luffy. Isn't kidnapping her right under the protagonist's nose a terrible loss and a slap in the face for Luffy? Rosinante was also deeply upset about this. That's why all of you need to learn the valuable lesson that the author or our teacher imparted in this chapter, fufufu. Don't show mercy to enemies. A dead enemy can't harm you or cause any trouble. Doflamingo adjusted his exquisite glasses before a cruel smile spread across his face. He stated, a good enemy is a dead enemy. Mihawk's eyes gleamed upon hearing Doflamingo's words, and he thought to himself, this kid is insane. Fishman Island. This is being repeated again in the manga. Damn it, exclaimed Jinbe. Nyuu. Oh no. Kami has been kidnapped. The current Hachan felt deeply saddened after witnessing the kidnappers escape with Kami. Don't worry, the Straw Hats are not ones to be taken lightly. They can handle it, Arlong pointed towards Sanji's angry expression, attempting to calm the panicked Hachi. Really? Well, there's no need to worry about events in the manga that have no connection to our current reality. Suddenly, Fisher Tiger spoke, his eyes burning with undisguised rage. What we should truly be concerned about is this: whether or not we have done anything wrong, humans still choose to kidnap us fishmen and sell us in human shops. That's what Rob said in the manga. No, that's what we have been subjected to for a long time. Listen, kids. What is Rob trying to convey to us in this arc? This is the most important thing. Chapter 529, all humans on this island are enemies of the mermaids and fishmen. King Neptune gazed at the unfolding events in the manga with a heavy heart and a profoundly sorrowful expression. He didn't want to witness this, but, as expected, it has already happened, Jaman. As if it were easy for a mermaid to venture into human territory and freely roam under the true sunlight. If it were easy, we wouldn't be living here, 10,000 meters away from land, in the depths of the dark and desolate ocean floor, all this time. Sigh. Susan let out a weak sigh upon hearing this. Even with the government's decision to prohibit the trade of my kind 200 years ago, nothing has really changed. Mermaids and fishmen are still being abducted. The only difference is that now they do it as covertly as possible. What's her fault? She merely wanted to fulfill her childhood dream. Susan bit her lower lip until it bled, while little Shirley struggled to hold back tears. Little Shirley also had a dream, the same childhood dream as Kami, but she managed to achieve it because of Rob. One Piece events. This has been my dream since I was a child. I'll remember this for the rest of my life. Thank you. Remembering the words Kami said before and the big smile on her face, Luffy was convinced that it wasn't wrong to bring her here. I don't know why. But she was so happy. Isn't it fine that we came here? It's not fine, exclaimed Papag. To be honest. For a fishman or mermaid, just coming to these islands is not okay. But Hachi wanted to help you guys no matter what. Papag. Don't say any more. Hatchan intervened to silence the emotional starfish. Why isn't it okay, Takapachi? The person Luffy was referring to as Takapachi was, of course, Hatchan. It's not just the kidnapping gangs that are Kami and Hachi's enemies. Every human that lives on this archipelago is an enemy, said Papag, crying. On an island in one of the 4 seas. Mama, are we humans evil? One of the children, who was reading the manga, asked his mother. She couldn't help but shyly answer her innocent son's question. No, son, not all humans are evil. There are always nice people like Luffy and his buddies among humans, just as there are evil and unscrupulous fishmen like Arlong. So, Mama, why do all the humans on the archipelago seem like enemies to Hatchan and Kami? Does it make sense that all the humans in Sabaody archipelago are evil? The child continued to ask strangely thought-provoking questions. But his mother always knew how to navigate the young one's mind, ensuring he wouldn't be negatively affected by the thoughts in the manga. Well, aren't Luffy and his buddies on the archipelago right now? Do you think they're enemies? And isn't the kind owner of the bar, Shaki, a friend of Hatchan for 10 years, just like Rayleigh? Are they also enemies of Kami and Hatchan since they are on the archipelago? No, they are not their enemies, but their friends. Since they are not their enemies, they can only be their friends, but what about humans who have nothing to do with Kami and Hatchan? They will only be their enemies, right? The mother's eyes widened, unable to give any answer to the clever boy who had found a loophole in her explanation. In different parts of the world, similar questions have been asked by children and adolescents to the adults around them. Most of them wanted to understand why the fishman race has been suffering from human oppression for all these long years. Based on what they have seen from Kami, Hatchan, and even Papag, anyone can say that they are not bad at all in terms of their soul and kind heart. They have even managed to erase the bad reputation left by the Arlong pirates in such a short time since their appearance. So they all wondered what kind of grave sin they had committed to endure this fate. The truth is, these questions will only become more significant with the Fishman Island arc. Whole Cake Island. A mature woman lay stretched out on a spacious queen-sized bed. Her ample figure was completely unclothed, and her smooth, white back was adorned with a cascade of pink hair. The woman was breathing heavily, unable to retract her tongue that dangled from her mouth due to extreme exhaustion. Additionally, there were visible red palm-shaped marks on her voluptuous, pale buttocks. In the cavern beneath, a ceaseless stream of milky white liquid dripped incessantly, resembling an eternal spring of milk. It was evident that this location served as a unique battlefield. This is where Charlotte Lean's ferocity was tamed, transforming her into an obedient whore under Rob's control. Even several minutes after he left, Lin could not find any strength in her legs to stand up again. Huff huff, I lost. I lost in the sweetest way possible. I want more, daddy, mama. Discrimination, asked Luffy. I should have explained that this is how things are on this island. I was foolish to let her come here. I should have prevented Kami from coming, even if I had to act like a demon. Hick. Papag was still extremely saddened by the loss of his companion. I'm sorry, Straw Hat. I wanted to help you, but it only ended up causing more trouble. New dash, said Hatchan. What are you saying? You haven't done anything wrong. You three are already our friends. We'll save Kami no matter what we have to do. Stop crying. Luffy shouted at the fishmen duo. Straw Hat. You. Papag was deeply moved after hearing what Luffy said. It's the Flying Fish Riders. Hatchan exclaimed. All right, let's go, replied Luffy. Somewhere in the sea of the New World. The festive atmosphere still prevailed aboard the Oro Jackson, but suddenly, a colossal shadow engulfed the ship. I've been searching for you, Roger. Garararara. The sound of Whitebird's laughter reverberated across the sea. Oh, are you looking for a battle, Newgate? A smile appeared on Roger's face as he reminisced about their past clashes against Whitebeard. A battle? As if fighting with you holds any significance for me now. Garararara. Roger. I heard that the events in the manga are about to shake the world, so I came looking for you to have some fun. You see, there's nothing more amusing than the manga in this sea anymore. At least until that brat fulfills that intriguing promise. Oh, did he promise you a seat in the games world too? Wahahahaha. Fascinating. Well, come aboard my ship, we're already having a party, announced Roger. No, you shall board my ship, we're also having a party, Gorarara. Get on board Oro Jackson, Newgate. Get on board Moby Dick, Roger. Humph. Humph. Shall we settle it through a fight? As a colossal shadow of clouds blanketed the sky, the clouds split apart due to the clash of conquerors' hockey. Chapter 530, Human Auction House. One Piece Events. Sabaody Archipelago, Grove 1. Human Auction House. All kinds of people, from the commoners to the nobles and even the pirates, were entering the human auction house at this moment. From the back entrance, Peterman left, very satisfied after successfully kidnapping the mermaid. All right, you take care of selling her, okay, said Peterman. A piece like that, I won't even have to try to get a high price. Come by later to collect your cut. Good work, Peterman. The person in charge of the auction hurried to kneel upon the arrival of the celestial dragons. Oh my! Saint Roseward. And Princess Charlia. Welcome. I'm afraid I must ask you to put aside your rank and stand with the commoners, he continued, with a trembling voice. It matters not, I have no intention of bidding. Thank you very much, this way to the VIP seats. Brother Charlos is certainly late. Princess Charlia turned around to search for her brother, but she didn't see him anywhere. It's because he rides a lame human. If you're going to ride something, at least make it a fishman. They're 10 times as strong as a human, her father, Roseward, replied disdainfully. Marigoa, Domain of Gods. Amidst the group of celestial dragons, there was one particular individual who stood out. However, he didn't stand out due to any special qualities or reasons. The reason he stood out was that both the celestial dragons and their guards, as well as the slaves and even the holy knights, were all focused on him. This celestial dragon had wide eyes and a sweaty face as he looked at a manga page. Is that me? This celestial dragon was in his 30s, with an upward curled hairstyle, a curly black mustache, and a fluffy gray beard. Like other world nobles, he wore a thick white suit with metal-like knobs, but inside the art store, he didn't have a bubble over his head. It wasn't just him, none of the world nobles had bubbles over their heads here. This world noble was named Saint Roseward. The reason for his shock was obvious. He appeared in the manga, being the first celestial dragon to see himself in such a way. The girl next to him appeared to be his unborn daughter. And Charlos she's talking about, he's my newborn son. Saint Roseward was taken aback, swallowing his saliva in shock. He never expected to appear in the manga like this. Suddenly, he raised his head and met the sharp glances of the other celestial dragons. What? He asked in confusion. So, you are the father of those insignificant tramps in the manga, Roseward? No wonder then. If the reason appears, the wonder is amazed. Damn you. That snotty kid who shot Zoro turned out to be your son Charlos. The little bitch next to you is the first celestial dragon to appear. Turns out she's your daughter too. Roseward. How will you explain this? Don't tell us you're going to buy Kami in the manga. If you do that, your days in Marigold won't be great, you know. The fans among us celestial dragons will exceed the limit. The world noble burst into curses directed at Roseward and his children. If it weren't for the art store restricting violence, they would have already attacked him and torn him apart. Saint Roseward sweated even more after witnessing the backlash from his comrades in power. Calm down, guys, it's just events in the manga, as you can see. None of this has happened or will happen anytime soon. There's no need for this. I'll make sure my children receive a good upbringing, okay? Stop cursing me, oi? I won't rest until this guy named Peterman is torn apart, fried in oil, and slowly adjusted to death. Damn you, Roseward. And your children. And Peterman. And the bastard who organizes the auction. And all those damn guests at the auction. Well, it seemed that the celestial dragons were genuinely furious. They were so enraged that they didn't even listen to what Roseward had to say. Tisk, call me the Five Elders. Upon hearing their supreme commander's command, one of the gods' knights hastily activated the Den Den Mushi. These fools no longer have a role in the grand scheme of things. Why not get rid of them? Immediately after the line connected, Garling made a bold statement. No, it was undoubtedly a bombshell. What nonsense are you telling me, Garling yo? The dissatisfied voice of one of the Gorosei came from the other side. Back in the Samba Kingdom in the South Blue, Eustace Rod was still in shock after discovering a new character in the manga who shared his family name. Eustace Rod was a simple fisherman who had spent a significant amount of time working in the field to provide for his small family, consisting of his wife. In his wildest dreams, he never imagined that he would see a character in the manga who seemed to be his heir, an heir with a notorious reputation. The kind-hearted man glanced at his wife's swollen belly, feeling uncertain about how to react or what to do. He wanted nothing to do with an evil pirate who would take the lives of countless innocents in order to gain notoriety at sea. Why do you have such a troubled expression, dear? Asha, a beautiful woman with long red hair, looked at her husband with concern in her eyes. Oh, it's nothing, don't worry too much. It's just that this man with the same name as mine has appeared again. Oh? Does our son also make an appearance at the slave auction? Tenryubito. Slaves and human shops. Standing at the entrance of the guest theater in the auction house, Kid calmly uttered 3 words. Wah! That's Captain Kidd, from the South Blue. Of course, many recognized him. Compared to the self-righteous nobles, the scum of the world seems surprisingly humane, said Kidd. They fail to understand that the world is in this state because despicable individuals like them control it. We have our dark side, but we also have our cute side, right, Killer? Kidd asked with a mocking smile. No mistake, replied Killer. If someone interesting shows up, let's buy them, ha ha. Boss Kidd, that's HM? There's a familiar face. The North Blue's 200 million bounty. Trafalgar Law. I've heard some pretty bad rumors about you. Law turned around and extended his middle finger light skin tone. Your manners are lacking as well. Wow, this kid, he's made some profound statements. Asha said, do you think what Shaki said about him is true? Maybe our son wasn't the crazed killer they portrayed him to be. Eustace Rod gazed at his wife's concerned expression and replied with a smile, why do you have such unwavering belief that this boy is our son? Perhaps it won't turn out that way. No one really knows. But I have this feeling, along with a certain voice. What voice? Anyway, this Trafalgar Law is something else. The way he confronted Kidd is simply outrageous. BFT, ha ha ha. At the art store on Flevance in the North Blue, this time. The sense of closeness returned once again for the Trafalgar couple after witnessing the scene where Trafalgar Law appeared in the manga. He's in the human auction house too. What on earth is he doing in such a place? Mary wondered with anxiety. He's a pirate. What do you expect from a pirate? They are free to go wherever they please if they possess enough strength, calmly responded Chris. With a bounty as high as 200 million, it's no surprise he can venture into such territories, added Chris. What does this red-haired scoundrel mean by saying my son lacks manners? Mary's words halted abruptly as she witnessed an unbelievable scene. Her adorable son had just made an obscene gesture towards the red-haired scoundrel, and to her astonishment, he even slapped her in the face. Mary, don't cry. It's not your fault. He's a pirate, you know. That doesn't necessarily make him entirely bad, considering he's a pirate. That wraps up this part of What If Becoming a Mangaka in One Piece World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.